Take a moment and just listen to the noise, the constant ping of notifications, the endless scroll of news feeds filled with outrage and alarm, the quiet but persistent hum of anxiety about the future. Our world, for all its technological marvels, feels chaotic, overwhelming, and profoundly uncertain. But what if I told you this feeling isn't new? What if I told you that 2,000 years ago, in the heart of a Roman Empire rife with war, plague, and brutal political intrigue, a few remarkable individuals discovered a kind of operating system for the human mind, an internal toolkit to not just survive chaos, but to thrive within it. They were known as the Stoics, and their wisdom is more relevant today than ever. These aren't just quaint aphorisms, they are battle-tested strategies from men who faced down the worst life could throw at them. These 5 Stoic quotes might just rewire the way you think and how you live. Number 1. The inner citadel. Our first rule comes from a man who sat at the absolute pinnacle of power, the Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. When we hear Roman Emperor, we imagine luxury and absolute command, but Marcus Aurelius' reign was a storm. He spent years on the freezing front lines of the Danube River, fighting Germanic tribes in a brutal, decade-long war. Back home, the devastating Antonine Plague was wiping out millions, a fifth of his empire. His own private journal, the book we now call Meditations, wasn't written for us. It was a personal survival guide, his private tool for staying sane while the world burned around him. This quote is the absolute bedrock of stoicism. It's the idea of the inner citadel. While everything outside of you, the economy, other people's opinions, your health, is ultimately beyond your total control, your mind is your fortress. You can always retreat into it, and it is the one place where you are the absolute sovereign. Think about this in your own life. The next time you're cut off in traffic, your flight is delayed, or a project at work gets a negative review, pause. Label the event for what it is, an outside event. It is external. Now, consciously choose your response. Do you give in to rage and frustration, letting the external event conquer your inner peace, or do you take a breath, accept the reality of the situation, and focus on the next practical step? That is the choice between being a slave to circumstance and the master of your own mind. That's where your real power lives. Number 2, the tyranny of judgment. Our second rule comes from a man whose life was polar opposite of an emperor's, Epictetus. It's not things that upset us, but our judgments about them. Epictetus was born a slave. His master, a wealthy and cruel secretary to the Emperor Nero, was known to be abusive. Legend has it that one day his master began twisting his leg for amusement. Epictetus calmly warned him, "It will break." When it did, his only response was, "I told you it would break." He endured the unimaginable cruelty to later gain his freedom and become one of the most revered philosophical teachers in the Roman Empire. His wisdom wasn't academic, it was forged in pain. What he means here is that there are 2 steps to any experience. First, there's the raw event, the impression. Then, there's the story we tell ourselves about it, the judgment. The criticism from your boss is just words. The rain on your wedding day is just water. The suffering doesn't come from the event, but from the judgment you attach to it. This is a disaster. I'm a failure. My life is ruined. The second step, the judgment, is entirely your own creation. When you feel a rush of anger, sadness, or anxiety, practice separating the event from your story about it. When someone criticizes you, ask yourself, what really happened here? They spoke words. That's the objective fact. The judgment that they disrespected me and now I'm diminished is the story. Try to see things with this objective clarity. You'll find that most of your emotional turmoil comes not from the world, but from the labels you put on it. Number 3, the cost of imaginary pain. Our third rule comes from Seneca, a fascinating and controversial figure, a playwright, a political advisor, and one of the wealthiest men in Rome. He who suffers before it is necessary suffers more than is necessary. Seneca lived a life of extreme paradox. He was the tutor to the monstrous Emperor Nero and navigated a world of deadly political traps. He knew that the threat of death or exile was always around the corner, and he was eventually forced to take his own life by Nero's command. He understood better than anyone that the human imagination can be a far more terrifying torture chamber than any real-world event. We spend so much of our lives worrying about things that haven't happened. We rehearse disasters in our minds, plan out every possible negative outcome. Seneca saw this as a form of self-inflicted punishment. You are paying the emotional price for a crisis that may never even arrive. The next time you find yourself spiraling into a vortex of what ifs, stop and use Seneca's logic as a circuit breaker. Ask yourself two simple questions. First, is this happening now? And second, am I solving a problem, or am I just borrowing suffering from a hypothetical future? If the problem isn't here and now, gently bring your focus back to the present. Deal with today's challenges today. You'll deal with tomorrow's challenges tomorrow. Number 4, the definition of wealth. We return to Epictetus, the former slave, for our fourth rule, a powerful antidote to our consumer-driven world. Wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants. This quote hits especially hard today. We are constantly bombarded with advertisements telling us that the next purchase, the new phone, the faster car, the bigger house, will finally make us happy. Epictetus knew this was a trap. He understood what modern science calls the hedonic treadmill, the tendency for our happiness to return to a baseline level, no matter how many new things we acquire. True freedom, Epictetus argues, isn't found in adding more possessions, but in subtracting unnecessary desires. It's an internal game, not an external one. A person who earns $1 million but wants 2 is poor. A person who earns 50,000 but is content with 40 is rich. Practice strategic gratitude. Don't just feel it, actively look for it. Take a moment today and consciously appreciate what you already have. A roof over your head, food to eat, a friend you can call. This isn't just feel-good exercise, it's a stoic strategy to retrain your mind to find wealth in your current reality, not in a future purchase. That mindset shift alone is worth more than money can buy. Number 5, the ultimate filter. Our final rule, fittingly, brings us back to Marcus Aurelius and the stoic concept of memento mori. You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do, say, and think. This is not meant to be morbid. For Marcus, who faced death daily from plague and in battle, this was a tool for radical focus. The constant awareness of life's fragility is what gives it meaning. It's a filter. It cuts through the noise, the trivialities, the distractions, and forces you to confront the most important question. Is this truly how I want to be spending my limited, precious time? Use this as a practical filter for your daily decisions. When you find yourself getting dragged into a pointless online argument, ask, is this worth my final hours? When you're procrastinating on a meaningful project, ask, if not now, when? This doesn't mean you can't relax or have fun. On the contrary, it means you do so with intention, because you know that time is your most valuable, non-renewable resource. It encourages you to live with purpose, urgency, and courage. The inner citadel, the power of judgment, the cost of worry, the nature of wealth, the filter of mortality. These aren't just quotes, they're tools. Stoicism isn't about becoming a stone-faced robot who suppresses emotion. It's about mastering your mindset so you're no longer a slave to destructive feelings like rage, panic, and envy. It's about cultivating tranquility, resilience, and a profound sense of purpose, no matter what the world throws at you. Notice how all 5 tools point back to that first central idea, separating what you can control from what you can't, and dedicating your energy entirely to what you can't. That is the heart of this ancient wisdom, and it is the key to a tranquil life. Which quote resonated most with you? Let me know in the comments below. And if you want more ancient wisdom for a modern world, subscribe.